When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we'll see. No, I won't be afraid. Oh, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Stand by me. If the sky that we look upon should tumble and fall, or the mountain should crumble to the sea, I won't cry, no, I won't shed a tear, just as long as you stand by me. And darling, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand now. Stand by me. Stand by me. When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we'll see.
So we're live.
We're live. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Nerdy Up North podcast. It's a nerdy podcast and it's hosted by Northern Nerds. I am one of your hosts, Sam.
And I'm the other host, Paul, and we are joined by, nobody.
It's just us.
Yes, everyone else is fucked up. But yes. I'm quite liking the twosome episodes where we do for so far. It's
I thought you were going to call us the gruesome twosome there.
Gruesome. No, that's the Mondays. I'm not taking away your spotlight or
what this?
Yes.
What this right here?
Oh, getting the plugs in already. So yes, don't forget Monsters Monday. But yes, so we are not joined by anyone tonight. So it is me and the lovely Sam, and today's going to be a fun episode because we did have plans for it and it changed this week, and we thought, what could we do? And now with Monday's episode being all about a scary fuck off shape-shifting clown called Pennywise, I thought, it's a summer, it's nice, it's sunny, we're going on adventures. We'll steal another Stephen King reference. We'll do not a review, just to talk about Stand By Me, which is one of the greatest coming of age movies that has ever been made, I would dare say. But
I agree.
But before we start into that, how's your day been, Sam? Are you okay?
Oh my god! It's weird when someone else asks it. It's been brilliant. I've had such a good day. We've been out
Outside.
Thanks. We've been outside.
Yes.
We got together, and a group of us got together, and we went out for dinner for my birthday this week.
Because she's 50.
Yay.
Happy 50, Sammy.
If I look like this when I'm 50, I won't be unhappy. But yeah, we all went out, and I got the bestest presents of the bestest people, and I've had such a good day.
Mm-hmm.
But how's your day been?
It's fine. Like I said, just chaotic. House still smashed up, so you might hear banging in the background. No, that's not my wife trying to kill me. But yes, the we are redoing the kitchen, and it's one problem after the other, so it's all fun. But yes, but other than
question,
right?
Other question.
What
have you been watching?
What have I been watching? Since last week's episode, I have been catching up on the new season of It's Always Sunny. And
have you really?
Yeah, so I think there's about 4 or 5 episodes out of the new season, and it is very, very good. And
Amazing.
Just noticed in the chat as well, someone made a Better Call Saul reference. There are cameos from people from Breaking Bad in the new season. So it is.
Oh my god, I've seen clips. I thought it was like a promo thing, like when they do like for sketch shows, like Red Nose Day or something. I thought it was something like for that. Oh my god.
No, they are a cameo in one of the episodes, and Charlie does end up kidnapping them at one point. So, spoilers.
Amazing! Can't wait for that. Oh, that's so cool. We're just gonna wait until it finishes because we would blitz that in a night. And I've been watching a whole lot of things. But go on. What else have you been watching?
Goodwill will be happy because I've started Archer again. Because after the incident at Sunnycom, I have been wanting to rewatch Archer because every time I watch Archer now, I just see Goodwill throwing ninja stars at people and trying to kill people. And just to put out the disclaimer as well, nobody was hurt or injured in the podcast making today. And when we went out for food, no one was injured. No one had the eyes taken out. We were forced to get ice cream by Donna and Kelly. How aggressive they got over ice cream scared the life out of me.
It was so worth it because that ice cream was amazing, but wow, they were very passionate over ice cream.
And I loved it how there was an ice cream vendor just to our right, and Donna was like, no, we're going to walk as far away as possible to the best ice cream. It was nice, but yeah, it was quite a... but did you notice something today as well? Donna's going to kill me for this. She's going to absolutely kill me. I don't know if you're listening. Donna come out to the toilet laughing her head off. Like, for most of the time she was out with us, her nipple was on show. So she was flashing the whole world. So anyone who was out on Sunday could have seen Donna's nipple today.
Well, Donna, I got a big, massive hug off you when you came in, and I didn't even notice at all. So you can see where my eyes were. They were looking directly into yours.
So I think there was only Kelly that noticed the nipple gate, but yes. Free the nipple, Donna. Free the nipple.
Don't be scared, Donna. There's men out there who aren't either.
Yes.
Well.
So what have you been watching, young lady?
Okay, so I've apparently started watching The Simpsons again from the beginning. Yeah. Right. We're watching my in-laws' dogs at the moment, and I tend to put the telly on when I'm watching dogs because I watch a lot of dogs. And I put the telly on, and normally I'll put like Bob's Burgers on or just something bright and colourful and loud, and I put The Simpsons on, and I haven't stopped watching it. So normally I just like turn it off when I go in the living room, but nope, not been watching it, not been turning it off. But what I did start the other day, which I generally thought was a film at first, and it's not. It's a 6-part series, Daisy Jones and the Six.
All right.
It's on Prime. If anyone's a lover of music of the 70s, of, I would say, Fleetwood Mac as well, because very heavily influenced by the Fleetwood Mac story, by Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham's story. And it's got what's it, Riley Keough, who is the granddaughter of Elvis. She's in it. Fucking phenomenal voice. Guy from Hunger Games, the second Hunger Games, he's in it. It's so good. I need to finish it though, but I'm really enjoying it.
All right, sounds interesting. There was another documentary I've watched, and it just like completely different subject to what you think, but it was about like something in the past. The muscle one about the American gladiators. That was fucked. That is fucked up.
Really?
Some of the stuff, like, they started out like showing how the pilots, everything was done on concrete. So when they were slamming people were like nearly getting like breaking like the spines, dislocating the legs, shoulders popping out. So they have to, like, health and safety be damned good. Well, was just like out of order, crazy. And the amount of people that they fucked, and they were just having steroids just lying around, like, to the point where they used to come and say, okay, we're going to test everyone, but in 6 weeks' time. So give them 6 weeks to get clean, then take the steroids again. Honestly, it's one of the most messed up documentaries I've seen in a while, just for pure carnage. Like, they went on tour on a bus, and they basically just shagged everyone on the bus for the whole tour.
Oh well. Jesus. I saw it advertised and I thought that looks really cool. Like, that looks like it's going to be one fucked up mess, but I want to watch it.
Oh, it was entertaining as hell, but like, it's just roided up Americans just go on the ends. Like, two of them were in the car and arguing over the music we're playing, so they got out of the car and started smashing each other all over, fighting, then give each other a hug afterwards and went for food.
Whoa.
So roid rage is real, guys, and it does make you have a small penis, so don't do it.
The rule in my car is if you can connect your phone to my Bluetooth without any issues and have Spotify, you can put whatever music on you want. Right. But I don't get involved. You've got to figure it out yourself. That's the rule in my car. Cool. Unless if you don't, you listen to my shit.
Yes, exactly. And it should be always driver's choice, to be fair. And if someone's driving you about, don't be a dick. Don't moan about anything. Just be happy you're getting a lift. But yes. So the rules of the road guy there. But yes. So now, do you want to do your lovely disclaimer that won't be done next week by yourself?
No, it won't. You will have the pleasure of somebody else saying my disclaimer.
Yes.
Apparently it's going to be done for word as well.
I doubt that'll happen.
We'll see. But everything discussed in today's episode is our opinions and our opinions alone. If you'd like to discuss anything from today's episode, please come and join us in the Facebook group or the comment section and we can have an open discussion. What we won't have is anyone coming for us and telling us our opinions are wrong. We can all agree to disagree in fandom. So let's keep it fun, keep it kind, and keep the toxic behaviour out of nerdism.
Very well done, sir. Very well done.
Thank you. If you listen to Monday's episode, I think I say it in a very creepy voice. I think my whole opening is incredibly creepy.
To be fair, that a lot of stuff was creepy on the Monsters Up North episode. So we were talking a lot about child abuse and stuff like that at times, but it's all fun.
But not on this episode, not today, because we are talking about the great Stand By Me.
And have you watched this one?
Yes, I have seen it many times before, but I had the opportunity. I wasn't doing anything the other day because my car was in the garage, so I thought, you know what, I'll actually watch a film that we're going to talk about beforehand, which I never normally do, and it just warms your heart. There's no other way to describe it. Like when the opening scenes.
It's like a warm, comfortable blanket that never disappoints, if that makes sense. Yeah. And I know, like I say, a lot of people throw this word around, and it's lost a little bit of meaning now. But the movie is completely timeless. You could watch this in the next 20 years. And it'll still have the same impact and the same effect because of how well it was done and how, of its time it was as well. That's probably the best way I can just initially describe it.
Absolutely.
So I know you mentioned that you've seen it a few times before. So I know it's going to be hard, but can you remember, like, roughly the first time you watched it?
I dare say it wasn't that long ago. I would dare say in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Probably a little bit less than that, maybe. Because I don't know. You've stumped us. I generally don't know, but I don't think it's something I watched when I was younger.
Right. Okay. So
even though it would be up my street when I was younger, because that's the kind of, that was the summer holidays.
Yes.
Going on not going looking for, I mean, I did live in Shiny, so there could have been bodies lurking around, but with, do you know what it was, that adventure like kind of thing. Yeah,
I'll probably watch this. Ooh, I can't remember like the exact age, but I remember watching it around my cousins, like because my auntie used to babysit us when my mum and dad were at work. And I was probably a little bit younger to watch this because, like I say, there is a lot of bad language in this movie. I know it's probably a PG now, but like the tones and stuff, it's a very adult context for thing. It's not the normal light and fluffy come of age movie that we see from most films, and that's why I probably do love this as more, because it's the moral of the story and everything it's about friendship, and like not having, like, you never have the friends like you do when you were kids, which I agree with to a degree, but I think in certain situations that does reign a bit true. But the main story of this is just about the friendships and like growing up with them friends, and they're treating them like real kids though as well. Like they have real kid conversations, they talk to each other like real kids. It's not all like all light and fluffy. Like the group they're in, you've got, as you described, they've got two idiots and a thief, and like normally that's what you kind of had in your friendship groups back then when you were kids. Probably not a thief, but still you had a few idiots.
But no, they had, what they had was complex kids. They had Vern, who was, you know, very he's so naive and simple, so gullible, and just but in the sweetest possible way. You had, oh god, what's
Teddy.
Teddy. You know, he had one of the most traumatic experiences as a child, but still worshipped this man who put him through so much pain. He had so much baggage on him. Chris came from an incredibly bad background, where because of that reputation of his family, it's been put onto him, and he's been made out to be somebody he's not. And then you've got is it Gordy?
Gordy,
Gordy
LaChance.
Who's, you know, just, he's gone through grief, he's going through mourning, and he's lost his brother. I looked at the timeline, and this all happened on September 4th to September 8th. And his brother died the few months before that. So it's like really, really fresh. In Gordy's head. So these kids have like the complex, so fucking complex. But did we really know that much about our friends at that age?
No. And I wish I had a friendship group like this. That's probably why I gravitated towards it so much as a kid, and I still do. I watch this movie. It probably works out. It probably is about at least once or twice a year. I can't go a year without not seeing it, because I think, as I mentioned before, it's like the comfort blanket. There's comfort movies you can watch and makes you instantly feel at ease, or relax you, or takes you to a better place. Like there's movies like this, like Lost Boys, Breakfast Club, The Goonies. Again, I know, like say, everyone can tick the boxes like Goonie Bingo there, but they are very similar in tones and stuff. But the main thing, like one of the things I wanted to touch on as well, because if you look at the cast, like from like every single character in this, like I don't know many films that has a pedigree in the cast like this. If you look at it, like you've got
absolutely
John Cusack playing like a bit part. You've got Richard Dreyfuss, Kiefer Sutherland, Corey Feldman. I know he's a bit nuts, but he still was.
He was up there in the day, and he still is. He still has, regardless of how we feel about him, and he still has one of the best reputations when it comes to these classic movies.
Certainly, like Jerry O'Connell, Wil Wheaton, Wil Wheaton, yes, is still, like I say, we will get on the podcast one day, and the late great River Phoenix. So. Yeah. And them, like I say, them are the main players in this film. I know there's like side people and stuff like that, but to get that level of cast today, it just wouldn't happen. Or you would be paying a fucking shit ton of money to produce a movie. And this was just a little, like, a nothing movie. If that was it, this was just made just on the back of just to try and see what they could do. If that makes sense, they weren't expecting it to do anything.
No, it was Rob Reiner, the
Mhm.
director. And I was reading earlier that because we all know how Stephen King feels about certain adaptations of his work, and Stephen King is such an advocate for people to be creative, and if that means taking his work and turn it and doing something with it, he's more than happy for people to do that. He actually he has this program where it's like he will pay them $1 for the rights or something, or he only takes $1 for the rights.
Right, okay.
It's so he's just, I would have to read more about it, but he loves creativity, so he's happy for anyone to do it, but he has had his opinions on the way that his work is being portrayed. We all know how he felt about The Shining.
Yeah.
Massively. But when Rob Reiner showed him the final cut of this, he walked out of the room shaken. He was crying, he was shaking, and Rob bricked it because he thought in his head, if this guy doesn't like what we've done, we're not putting it out.
Yeah.
And when he spoke to him, he said it's one of the most faithful adaptations that I have ever seen of my work, and it's to this day his favorite. Still his favorite.
It is, and I didn't realize, because I was a bit naive as a kid, I didn't realize it was a Stephen King book. Well, not a book, sorry, it was a short story. It was The Body.
It's part of the short stories, yeah.
Was it in different seasons, was it? Or different seasons? Different seasons?
No, that's it.
Yeah, I think Adapt Pupil was in there as well. But the actual short story, it's probably, don't know how many pages, but it's not like this. It's not it, shall we say? It's not like it's as thick as fuck book. But
oh god, no! And I showed you that I'm not getting it out again because that means having to move, and I've got no trousers on.
Sammy hasn't got any trousers on, guys. We've got the no trouser warning.
It's one of those episodes.
Yes.
But what he used to do, and this goes from Green Mile, he used to just put stories into papers. That's how he got published, really, and I think that was probably one of them. Just so it's not the longest.
No, and I think this is why the adaptation works so well, is because it's a short story. It's not like Stephen King is renowned for building worlds. If you read his books, try and read his books, it's like chapter on chapter just telling you what the room looks like. Well, this is just basically a very simple story of 4 friends acting themselves in the summer, trying to get bored, and with of the time they haven't got the internet, they haven't got anything to keep them busy, but they hear the news that a kid around their age has went missing, and then they hear from Vern's older brother that they've seen it, that he's been hit by a train, and that adventure to them is just something that they can't pass up. To go on and basically to find a dead body. Now that sounds incredibly creepy now, but if you were a kid that age, that would be a fucking amazing adventure. It's
also being the heroes. They were gonna find the boy and become the heroes, and probably for each individual person, there was something to gain from that. Vern wouldn't look ridiculous.
Yeah.
Chris wouldn't look like he's a thief and comes from bad stock. And Gordy, he's
get out of his brother shadow type thing. Yeah.
Exactly. And Teddy just Teddy just to prove to his dad, because he keeps going on about the whole my dad stormed the beaches of Normandy. In his eyes, his dad is a fucking hero. So he just wants to live up to that hero aspect. Yeah. So each and every one of them have a reason to do it. But yeah.
So I know we're going to talk about the movie as well, but just before getting into the characters as well, which character, I'm going to ask 2 questions here. The first one is, which character do you like the most?
Chris.
Okay.
100% Chris. Absolutely love him. The way he speaks to Gordy on such an adult level for such a young age. He's such an old soul in there. And it's when he says to Gordy, I wish I was your dad. Yeah. Because I could tell, it's when he uses that kind of language, I think he's fantastic. Such a lovely person.
No, definitely. And the thing, as you said, the stuff that he's been through, he's grown up a lot more. So he's an adult before his time, as a lot of people to keep telling, saying things. He's been through shit, so he's grown through it. And that was quite common of the time that this was set. The next question I want to ask then: who do you most relate to?
Vern.
So you'll be the one that brings the comb.
Absolutely, Vern, and only because the fact that he hid a jar of pennies under his house, wrote a map out. That map then got lost, and he then couldn't find them. Right. That's me all over.
Right. Okay.
For that reason alone.
Bless. No, it's good answers. I quite like that.
What would yours be then?
I've always loved Geordie's character. Gordy, sorry. I just thought there was an innocence and just not wanting to grow up and let go of, the things. And he realizing, what Chris is saying is correct, but, when you get further, at the end of the movie, he never gave up on Chris. He wouldn't let Chris go down the route of what he was in. He made him do the college courses, and, he was, I know it doesn't tell you in the film, but, that's the message I got, that he was a big inspiration to get Chris out of Castle Rock and move out, and unfortunately it led to his timely death. But
doing what Chris does.
Yeah. So
Chris was a mediator, and that's...
But that was, Gordy was probably the one I liked, and again, probably the one I most related to was probably Chris. Not because I was a thief, but because of, shit happening in your life and stuff. You do grow up a lot quicker, and I am the one, even though it doesn't seem like it at times, I am the one that always tries to stop fights and put out fires wherever I can. A lot of the situations, which is
it's true.
Yeah, but
very much true.
And as a lot of people say, I'm not the one starting fights, trust me. But yeah.
But he's ending them. No, I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding. What was I going to say? Oh, again. Yeah. I'm trying to not look at the chat because not one of them's talking about the actual subject at hand.
No, that's fine. It's just say that you've got Kelly and Donna playing fun. So
well, there we go.
They talked about fannies earlier as well, because Kelly is the fanny queen. So yes, that's a new title which we are giving her. But yes, I've always appreciated the visual aspects in this movie as well, because it's not done in high def, or I don't think it was done in digital either, so it was very grainy, and even when you get the 4K or the Blu-ray version, it's still very grainy in look, but it's very picturesque. Good. And the camera angles and shots and everything is visually just eye candy for it. But I think with the thing that always stands out, and it's the same with the Goonies as well, is the friendships with the kids do seem very genuine, and you could actually see that friendship group going down the road or being a thing. But there's so many different highlights that I absolutely love of this film. I even like the little things, how they've got a secret knock to get into the tree house, and how Vern always forgets it, and not letting it in and stuff like that.
I love that scene when they're sitting in the tree house, they're playing cards, and then Vern's trying to tell them this really important story, and they just keep singing, "I drove all the way home."
We used to do that. We used to be bellends like this as kids as well. So if there used to be a thing that I used to pick up, you used to get them to say something and just completely go off on tangents and rip on them as well. So that was always quite relatable with stuff. But there was always one person in the group that used to get the shit, and that used to be me when I was a kid. So
because I'm so gullible, naive. I don't care. I generally don't care. That scene's lovely though, because it really gives you an insight. It shows you straight away who these people are. I know you get to see it a little bit more as it goes on, obviously, but it's just the four of them sitting initially together. I love that.
And it's hilarious as well. They actually show you in this film that they wouldn't dare show these days. Kids smoking. It's quite interesting as well. It's very much of its time, but kids having tabs and stealing cigarettes off their parents,
and Chris sitting there with the box rolled up in his
very army-like as well.
Yeah.
But no, it's
just so brazen about it.
But that's, I think, the Stephen King aspect as well, is they kept it so true to the the tone in the novel. Well, not the novel, the short story, and very brave, but it worked so well with it. what did you feel about the main protagonist? Like, say, Kiefer Sutherland's character, Ace?
He's an asshole.
Was Ace, wasn't it? Yeah.
Horrible. Yeah,
yes,
Ace, yeah. He's horrible. He has I mean, the shit he's doing is pathetic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when you really look at it, it's goddamn pathetic, especially the whole knocking off the letterboxes. I mean,
yes.
come on. Think of something a bit more fucking original.
Mm-hmm.
When he steals Gordy's hat,
yes.
he knows.
Mm-hmm.
He knows his brother is a big deal.
Yeah.
And he still takes that goddamn hat. That is a horrible thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
The way that he makes when he gets Chris on the floor as well.
Mm-hmm.
He is an asshole, but the way that they get him at the end is exactly how you would get a bully like that.
Yeah, and show him, just see if he's got the balls to like back it up. But
yeah.
Sorry to cross over podcasts here as well.
Ooh.
But did you get very Henry Bowers vibes from him as well?
A lot, yeah. A little bit. Henry was all about the I'm gonna fucking kill you constantly. I didn't really get that kind of sadistic feeling from him, but still kind of the same type of bully.
Yeah. Like say a chicken down, like a coward down to his heart, but more like say I would love to have known more about Ace or find out more about that background as well, just what happened and what led him to basically the stage that he got to, type thing.
Yeah, because we know about Henry's background, you know, his dad and everything. He was so scared of his dad. Like, there's a scene in the TV series, sorry to be crossing this over, but there is a scene in the TV series where he's going to get flunked from one of his exams and he bricks it because his dad's going to have to know about that. And so we do know about Henry. I think Ace, when it comes down to it, he's probably a mummy's boy.
Right, okay. Interesting.
And just always had it his own way.
Yeah.
I don't think he comes from a bad background.
Right.
I think, if anything, Chris comes from a worse background.
Yeah, and his brother called Eyeball or something, Eyeball Chambers.
Yeah, something like that. So yeah, I think Chris comes from a worse background, and I just think he's trying to live up to hype. Yeah. Like, he's just... I don't think it means anything to him.
No. I said, with Ace, you kind of get that vibe or that feeling that he's just in it for the glory or for the notoriety type thing. I'm this big bad bully, or like saying the way he speaks about women as well. Like when he's telling the guy, saying, like doing boys chat as you did at that age, saying, I can't get anywhere. All she's letting us do is feel her tits. And he's going, you need to get yourself with a Protestant or a Jew, and like say, because a Christian lass won't ever pit out. And it's like, wow, that's how their views on women is back then, and just to show the kind of busy douchebag that he really was. But
he's a good protagonist, but he's just a bit pathetic, and I don't know if that's just through adult eyes.
Possibly
that I'm thinking that.
Yeah, no, definitely. I would have been scared of him as a kid, no doubt of him. Like say with like his attitude and like say with everything that's going on, I probably would have been scared of him if he like ran my town, if that makes sense.
I grew up with an older male cousin who is that person who, so I just used to. That's probably why I think it's so pathetic because I've seen it all from him. So it's just like, oh, God, come up with something original.
Yes. One thing I did want to mention as well, and is like, as soon as I watched it again the other day, and you realise how good it is, the soundtrack. And,
oh yes, that 50s feeling. I love that. I love the fact that that a soundtrack can make you feel warm.
Definitely, and I know we often talk about like favourite movie soundtracks in the group and stuff, and I know a lot of the ones regulars always gets mentioned, like Lost Boys, The Crow, other movies.
Kill Bill, that's the best soundtrack ever.
But Stand By Me doesn't come up, and I don't think people realise like how good and how much of a mood setter the music is in this as well. Like from when they walk along the train tracks singing Lollipop, Lollipop, and like when they're going in the cars.
What is the song that they sing when they're on the train tracks and it's just them? It goes. It's
It's like I think it's a song that it's probably a song that they sang in Scouts or something like that from the sounds of it. But again,
I tried to find the lyrics to that song to put in a post for Stand By Me, and fuck, I couldn't find it. And I was like trying to like think of words. I was like, I'm gonna have to go back and watch it. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that.
No, I know what you think, but I don't think it's an actual song. I think it might be something that they sang in Scouts. It's like what was it in Big when they go? I can't remember that one either now. My brain's just dead.
Oh, I can.
Go on, go for it.
Hang on.
Oh, we're pulling it out here.
Ooh. Oh, God. Oh, shall we walking down the street 10 times a day? I said it. I stole my mama's credit. I'm cool. I'm high. Suck me in the kisser one more time.
Well done.
I can't remember the beginning bit.
No, but it's like them little things that do stick with you. But like, now you said it, all I can hear in my head is da 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 da. But the little things, like I said, when they're singing Lollipop, when it's going to take out the papers and the trash, I don't get any spending cash. Yakety yak.
Shimmy, shimmy, Cocoa Pop. Thank you, Kelly. Yes, that's it.
We'll get you to perform it properly when we do the Tom Hanks episode, so that's fine.
Fuck yeah. No, the soundtrack is absolutely phenomenal, but it's a soundtrack of the time, obviously, because otherwise it wouldn't fit. But it makes you feel warm. Like you fit it helps with the mood of the film.
Because it is quite dark, the tones, even though like it's quite light and fluffy and stuff. There's some horrific things that do happen in this movie.
There is a lot of adult issues for children to be dealing with.
Yeah, getting a leech on your ball sack is terrifying.
Oh, I heard Wil Wheaton on a podcast talking about that scene.
Right.
And it cost a lot of money to put the leeches on them for them to stay on, like makeup wise and such. And they said you can't take them off during takes. You're going to have to leave them on.
Right.
So they all had a bit of a time out, and they were like, right, we're going to go and take his all because they really tried to keep the kids. So they took them to a theme park, but they weren't allowed to take the leeches off.
Right, okay. So they walked around the theme park with leeches.
They weren't allowed in. They weren't actually allowed in.
Oh dear.
They had to turn around and walk back. But that's what the Will stresses a lot, is the fact that this production was so safe for these kids.
Yeah.
They made sure these were that when they were acting, they would treat like actors. The scene with Chris when he finally loses it. And he's crying his eyes out. Rob Reiner had to pull him to one side and say, listen, you need to dig deep. You need to find the most traumatic thing that's ever happened to you. And River Phoenix did not have the greatest upbringing. And he was like, you need to dig deep and find the most traumatic thing that has ever happened to you. And that's what you need to use. The scene that you get is him on the back of his own trauma.
Right.
With the scene with the train, Rob Reiner was not convinced that Wil Wheaton and Jerry O'Connell were scared.
It's okay.
So he made them scared.
Go on. How did he do it?
He started screaming, shouting at them, basically getting them into a position where they were choked up. But the minute it was action done, cut, he was back to being Rob Reiner, I'm your friend. And he made sure Keith Sutherland didn't like spending time with them, from what I've been reading, because they wanted to make sure the kids were kids,
right, and
not around adults a lot. So they were having as much fun as they can to convey that friendship on screen. And I like that. But Keith Sutherland had a few run-ins with them, little shitbags.
Bless. The thing is, though, Keith Sutherland, like, he was just the 80s king with some of the movies that he did, though. So I'm
telling you now, Corey Feldman had probably a better backlog than him at the time of filming.
Yeah, he's probably seen all the ones he was in as well, though, to be fair. I don't think it was in Flatliners, but no.
No, he wasn't.
No. But no, and a lot of people forget about this movie as well, though, and that's always a shame. Because when they talk about like greatest movies or favorite movies from the time, I think Stand By Me does stand up to most, just for longevity, like I said before. But
yeah,
like that scene I mentioned before, the leech scene, like you can't help but cringe, and you don't know what, like, say, they would be going through. But there's also like the hilarity scenes as well when they go through the junkyard, and you get the like inner monologue as well, where it's like sick balls chopper, and
but I don't know if that's what he said.
No. And I love the inner monologue that you get. That's Richard Dreyfuss telling the story like behind it as well.
Totally forgot he was in this film until I put it on. I was like, "Fuck me!"
Well,
I couldn't remember that.
Spoilers for the Monday's episode as well. We did talk about like the children in it and the adults not looking like the kids. Now, Wil Wheaton must have had a really bad like teenage years if he turned into Richard Dreyfuss from what he looked at there. So that transformation didn't quite work well for me.
No, not quite did it. There's a few differences in. Actually, no, sorry, I don't want to jump towards that quite yet. The scene with that when Chris shows him the gun, love the fact that Gordy doesn't freak out. Like, oh my god, you've got a gun, where have you got it? He's like, fuck yeah, that's cool. Because why would he not think that? He's like the kids. But it's the reaction when he shoots it. That face. And it's the fact that him and Chris managed to do the same expression at the exact same time is absolutely timeless. But I also love the fact that that conversation afterwards when he's saying, you knew that was loaded, and he went, honestly, hand on heart, and he went, it's just his sincerity in his voice. Like, if we can talk about River Phoenix for a second, that boy in that, I call him a boy because that's what he is in this film. He was an incredible actor. It's so sad that we wouldn't. I mean, we are really seeing a piece of him with Joaquin Phoenix, because I feel like he has the kind of same work ethic as his brother did when it comes to acting. But it would have been incredible to see where he went.
Or what potentially we could have, because as we mentioned, I think we were talking about today, we would have had more young Indiana Jones. That was the
plan. That was the initial plan, was just to screen test him as the young Indiana Jones. He picked up very well in the screenings. Obviously, I mean, he's fit as fuck in it. And that they were going to run with that. There's a lot of poor Leonardo DiCaprio. There's a lot of Leo roles that were intended for him. But yeah, it's sad. It's really, really sad that he went the way he did.
Does, and you can probably say that about so many different people as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's the name of the game. Like, if they like them type of things do happen, but I think if you can appreciate for what was left, like say if you go back, like as I said, this one, what was the other one? A river ran through it as well. Type thing was also.
What was it? My favorite.
My favorite Idaho or something.
Idaho, with Keanu Reeves. I watched a sit down interview very recently. It might have been an anniversary of something, of this movie, or actually the anniversary of his death will always be Halloween, wasn't it? He died on Halloween. Definitely wasn't Halloween, so it must have been for the release of this. And it's Rob Reiner, Wil Wheaton, and Corey Feldman,
right? Okay.
Just sitting in a theater talking about it, and the admiration and the pain they all still feel to this day that they don't have him around anymore.
Yeah, no, it's always going to be hard, and like I think the best thing we can do is just appreciate, for, as I said before, what is left behind, rather than like mourn like what we could have had type thing, because it's always a sad aspect. But there's things that like does happen, and not to say a fate or anything like that. People always do make decisions, and like I said,
yeah,
there's always...
and he made choices.
Yes.
Which is my private Idaho. Sorry, my private Idaho. Wil Wheaton had a little bit of resentment towards him. So when this movie finished, this was it. Now, I'm taking this from probably about 10 years ago. Will has now come out and talked about his family dynamic at the time of when he was a young actor, and it's very different conversation to what he had 10 years ago. He's basically let all of the secrets out of how much of his parents were monsters. But at the time when I heard this interview, he hadn't released that yet, and he said he had a lot of resentment towards River Phoenix because this movie wrapped. Was fucking huge. This was it. This was where it was starting, and River was getting this thrown at him, that thrown at him, and he didn't.
Yeah, which is understandable because
he didn't see it that way.
Yeah,
he was just as good, if not better, in his eyes than River Phoenix. He stood with River Phoenix and acted alongside him. He felt his place was where he should be as well. Not that he wanted to take anything away, he just wanted to be in that place. And he didn't obviously get it. And he said he had a fair bit of resentment, but never lost the love for him.
No, and that's quite admirable as well, from at least have the balls to admit it. But again, I know it sounds bad, but Wil Wheaton did have a look, and he could only do certain things if that's going to unbelievable in certain things, where River Phoenix had the look that he could do everything and be anything as well. I would be interested if anyone's ever asked him what his favourite role was with Wil Wheaton. Goodwill will probably get upset about this. Would he prefer? Does he say that he loved to do and Stand by Me more than Star Trek?
He talked in things that I've heard him because he's best friends with Chris Hardwick, and I used to listen to the Nerdist podcast all the time. So Chris used to always mention stories of Will, and he had Will on a few times. And the tone that I get when he talks about Star Trek, again, this is going way back, and this is like 2014 time, and the tone, it's like he didn't have a good time, and he kind of I don't know, he's trying his hardest to look back on it fondly, but can't seem to do that. But with this movie, this one is special, and his friends tortured him with it. They used to go to a diner, and the diner used to have them little mini jukeboxes on the table where you could pick the song from the table. They would go on to every single one and play Stand By Me.
I would do the same though. I would do the same. You would have
to sit and repeatedly listen to it. They would go to strip bars.
Oh well.
And request that Stand By Me be played.
That's a bit creepy. That's a bit creepy.
Massively. I love listening to I love listening to Will. We
need to get Goodwill in a strip bar and play Stand By Me. See how Goodwill reacts.
That would be interesting. That would be interesting. And did you? I didn't know growing up or through the years that this was Jerry O'Connell.
Yeah. No.
It wasn't until I heard a reference on something, and it might have been Big Bang Theory, that the big kid is Jerry O'Connell, which I find hilarious that he's actually Sheldon's brother. I'm sure that was where I heard it on.
Possibly, but no, it's one of them. As I said with the cast is second to none with anything. But he did change a lot, Jerry O'Connell. You done well. You grew into them bones. So yes,
you did. Now, going into the actual story, have you read the book?
Yes. Yeah.
Or the short story?
It's called The Body. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And does it give you more detail, or is it just is this very much a carbon copy of the short story?
There's very minute differences, but the characters are exactly the same. The story is the same. Everything that happens towards the end, it's one of them ones where they don't change anything that's important. So what you see in the film is pretty much in the book. Just because it is a short story, there's not much more to go. I think there's a few little added bits. There's more with this story interaction, or but the like say even like the story with Lardas and stuff.
I love that.
Is still in there, I believe. Again, I might be just talking bullshit there, but I'm sure it is. But because it's been a few years since I've read it, but it's very, very close adaptation. There's no extra gleam and stuff. But if you like the movie, I would always recommend reading it just because it gives you a bit of extra flavour.
Yeah, I know the book goes on to explain that. So at the end of the movie, Richard Dreyfuss explains that the two, Teddy and Vern, went off and lived their lives, and Chris got killed on the day that he's telling the story. It didn't actually happen. They both got killed. Vern got killed in a house fire, and Teddy got knocked over. They were both dead at the point of the storytelling.
Yeah.
And that Chris, so when Ace is going to kill, because he's not going to kill him, is he? Like, come on, he wouldn't do it. But when he was gonna kill Chris by slitting his throat, that is how he died. So there you go. I did do a little bit of reading on today's episode. I just wanted to see if there was anything more than what I've visually seen.
Yeah.
I do love the end scene though. I think that is one of the best end scenes ever. Not just that, when they actually find him. Yeah. And the two gangs confront each other.
I want to ask a question about that as well. So if you found the bodies, like take away the gang situation out of it, could you have went through and reported it, or would you have felt like wrong doing it? Because like how they did, like you said, they got there and it didn't feel right for them to do that.
I would have. Didn't they do an anonymous phone call? Like
yeah,
they were going to do in the first place.
No, because they wanted basically the notoriety and say,
they wanted to put their names forward to say we found them. I probably, if I had the same kind of adventure that they did of this whole self-discovery, I would have done it anonymously.
Yeah, no, definitely, and like because. This isn't like a Lord of the Rings where we get 15 different endings. We do get 3 different endings. Well, not 3 different, 3 ending points for the movie, which is, and again, I always like, you get the first one is when they find the body and they decide what to do. The second one is when they go off and like say goodbye, and that's like it's almost like the saying goodbye to the childhood, and like saying that friendship group will never be the same again, which we all went through, and we all have them moments. You don't really realize it at the time, but you can look back and say that was the moment where we grew apart, or we can see that was the late part. And then the ending of the actual movie when Richard Dreyfuss's Gordy realizes he's basically almost being like his dad. He's not having fun with his kids. He's basically spending all his time writing. So then he ends the book with one of the most best lines to end his book. Like I say, I've never had a friendship friends like that. But do you ever do when you're not 12 or something like that? Again, totally butchering it, but it is a really poetic way to finish it. And you see him
I've heard it's one of the favorite lines to end a movie. If that was to be used, it's that one. Yeah.
So them aspects to it, I know we've like missed out huge chunks of the movie as well, but them like key things, and I know I rip on the Lord of the Rings for like only having so many different endings as well. But that's one where multiple endings kind of work and kind of gives you closure to everything at the same time.
Yeah, and I appreciate the fact that there was them different. They all were the same kind of ending. Nothing really changed, but it was just a different perspective on it.
Yeah.
There's one thing we haven't mentioned about this movie, and this is the absolute corkers of dialogue that we get throughout this film.
Suck my fat one, you cheap dime hood.
So fucking good. So good. That ending with Gordy and the gun and that line. It is one of my favorite, if not my favorite lines in movie history. I absolutely love it. What I also appreciate it as well. Now, my husband will absolutely contest, will agree with this. I am a dickhead when it comes down to bodies on the screen. when somebody's died.
Right.
Because they always do the whole, I shouldn't they?
Yeah.
I'm here to tell you, people, that does not fucking work, right? When you die, your eyes will ping back open. And it really boils my piss when people do it and I will point it out on every single thing. Every time I see it.
And Sam is the queen of death here, guys, so don't worry.
Pretty much. And I will point it out on every single one. What I loved about the body, about the kid, and bearing in mind, that's the first time they see him ever when they're recording. So that is their full-on initial reaction. His eyes were open. His jaw was slack. And his colour was right.
Yeah.
And I so appreciated that, that they got that aspect correct. Because otherwise I'd have been, especially if his eyes were closed, I'd have been Feldman. And hates it. He calls us all sorts of names for it because he'll go, don't say it. And I'll be like, that doesn't really happen. I'm honestly, I'm an absolute arsehole for it.
Well, the thing is, though, what people don't realise, Sam has killed many before, so she knows from personal experience for the deaths of her victims and for the many people she has killed and butchered. And we'll even go there, Sammy. She has eaten as well, because we're going to go into cannibalism there, even though she hates cannibalism.
Yeah, I do what I hate. It's all a ruse. No, Lee, I'm not speaking from experience. I just am very fascinated by death.
They're calling you Dexter now, so that's fine.
No, that's okay.
If you ever walk into a room, there's plastic sheets around you with Sammy, be very worried.
Just leave.
Just leave.
Just leave. It's easier for everyone. Just leave. But yeah, I really appreciated that aspect of it, like especially from my dickheadish point of view, how brilliant that was.
And I know we do talk about this quite a lot when we do talk about like the old movies or the classics, shall we say. Can this movie be remade, do you think?
Well, if you'd asked that before Stranger Things, I'd have said absolutely not.
Right.
But once again, they've managed to pull a group of children who have, because let's be honest, they are children, who have such magic that they can take you back to an era that you thought was well forgotten. And Stranger Things managed to do that. So I don't know. Right. I don't want it to ever be.
Because, as you said, there's zero special effects in this. Like, everything's practical. Like, even the bathing scene, like, is hilarious. Like, with the, like, Lardass and
you can so see the pipe. You can, like, but I love it anyway. Yeah. I love that story.
The big woman who vomits into her handbag, where it's clearly just been keeping something there for a little while, and she goes, bleh. It's not even proper sick. But
it's just bleh. But what got me about that story was, yeah, I can understand all the guys on the stage throwing up purple, but why are the guys on the bottom throwing up purple? I was like, but I loved it
because they're all eating purple shit. But yeah, like it's one of them things. I don't think the film needs to be remade, but going back to what we talked about, like the characters like Ace or like the other characters around, I know we got like a Stephen King-esque Castle Rock series when it touched on like the things, but I would like a period accurate story about Maine or Derry, about like the goings on, and like I know a lot of the stuff do interlink as well, but it'd be quite interesting to have that as a TV show. But not going back into Monday, I don't want to see Stand By Me done now, because it wouldn't be, because people would just have the phones out to use GPS and it wouldn't be as fun.
Yeah. With Stand By Me, it needs to be at a time of not now, basically, to where adventure was the, key.
Yeah. Where it's the time of innocence, shall we say.
Yes, because we've lost it massively.
Especially
while I sit and talk through an expensive expensive microphone and headphones and looking at my phone.
But when people using like things like phones to watch us, hi guys.
Hi. Yes, hi, thanks.
Please like and share. But yes,
subscribe.
But yeah, that's why I think people make mistakes when they do look to make these type of shows or movies remade. They go, oh, what would this aspect work like now? I'm not interested in that. Say if they redid the Goonies, like for example, I wouldn't be interested in what they would do now. Because to be fair, if the kids were missing for 10 minutes, there would be police search parties and stuff like that. They wouldn't
Amber Alert.
Yeah, it would be all that shit. But if you're going to do it at the time it was meant to, and do it as accurate as you can do as well. I know they've just redone Indiana Jones back to like how they can do it, and that was done as a period piece and done really well.
Yeah.
And as much as hate as the Indiana Jones movie is getting, I didn't mind it. I quite liked it. Same with this. Same with this. It's very much of its time. Keep it at its time if you were going to do it differently or do a different take, do it from the viewpoint of the bullies, like Ace and his gang. And
let's see why they're a bunch of arseholes for, and because they were doing stupid shit like knocking over mailboxes, which is fucking ridiculous, but they also boosted cars.
Yep.
So they also had side hustles. They did stuff without Ace too. So that would have been interesting.
And what was the name of the gang? It was the Cobras or something, wasn't it? Because that's why.
Oh, fuck off, was it? It gets better.
Because that's what he was like tattooing on his, like using a razor blade to put a tattoo on one of the arms. It was like a cobra, and it was like,
wow,
it's like you're fucking up the steak, dude. But
oh my god.
But like, how did they get that gang? But like, I know that would be interesting to me because I know they've done it's been cancelled now. They've recently just done the Pink Ladies, like the birth of the Pink Ladies, where the rise of the Pink Ladies, where it's shown how.
Yes.
But what the mistake they did then, they had a previous piece, but they done pop like modern day music where they were singing. It's like they wouldn't be singing this type of tracks or that type of beat back then.
You can't. That's what if you're going to keep to the period, it's got to be 100% authentic. That goes from costumes, that goes to the time, how it was at the time, that goes to the music. It needs to be completely authentic, and if you can't keep to that, then don't fucking bother doing it.
Certainly, definitely.
That's just my opinion, and that's just because I appreciate movies set in this time. There's one thing I wanted to mention as well. That's how amazing Stephen King is at writing friendship groups.
Yeah.
And it often makes us think, did he have that kind of like friendship group growing up? Because it's always the same. It's four kids, or obviously with it, there's a few more. But when I read his book on writing. He wrote this amazing book on how to become a writer, basically, but it's also kind of a biography.
Right.
He grew up with a lot of women.
All right. You can say that. You can say that.
Yeah. He grew up with a lot of women. His mom, his aunties, his grandmother, I think they all lived in the same house. It doesn't mention anything that he had a core group of friends about how he writes, and it kind of makes us think, is that all he wanted? It makes us so sad.
Bless. Just trying to think though, if you were going to like remake Stand By Me now with like today's like generation, like who would you cast in that role? It would have
definitely
to be
definitely not Finn Wolfhard.
Right.
Definitely not. Because my God, no.
He's in everything.
Oh gosh, who would I have? See, I don't know children actors.
No, but that's the thing, because would you want someone that's like, as you said, a Finn Wolfhard, or would you want it to be like an unknown? Because like just to come out the gate and.
Were these unknowns? They weren't.
I don't think they were that big. Like I know, probably Corey Feldman was probably the biggest name in the group at the time.
Yeah, I would like it. Probably unknowns, because don't you think that was the charm of Stranger Things?
Yes.
Was that we had no idea about these kids at all,
and that came out of nowhere, definitely. I keep forgetting, like pretty much Stranger Things is pretty much the remake of what we had of this now, of like everything that we've got now.
Yeah, if we sit there and go back over movies that kind of has any resemblance to Stranger Things, like, oh, it's already been done. I tell you what, I did used to get confused. I used to confuse Stand By Me with another movie which is horrific. It's got Kevin Bacon in it. You're gonna have to help us out with the name.
Is it Footloose?
Brad Pitt. No, Brad Pitt. It's about the kids at the school who
Sleepers.
And Sleepers. I used to get very confused with these two movies.
Similar type of beats, just less rape in this one. But yeah.
Yes, but I don't understand. I don't know if there's anything that was significant on the front covers that looked even remotely similar.
No,
but I used to get very confused. I used to confuse the two of them.
It's very much same beats. It's like a very coming of age story, but not a very nice one type thing.
One absolutely horrific, and the other one just mildly horrific.
No, it wasn't Tremors, Chris. Don't worry. That, like I said, there was definitely Tremors in Sleepers, but not that type of Tremors. God, it's terrific. Well, like I say, that's where, like I say, an accent where the got pushed a hot dog cart down some stairs and end up hurting someone. That's why they end up getting sent
and they
to
end
jail.
up going into the school, and it just got in Kevin Bacon's a monster. Yeah, maybe we could have him on an episode of
very good.
Up North.
Very good movie though as well. Hard to watch, but very good. Talking about podcasts though as well, because I'm going to try and set us a challenge. Because this episode has made me think of a few things. So this isn't going to involve the chat. So if the chat can stop talking about nipples and Beast and Goodwill and whatever,
and my mom, thank you,
and Sammy's mom. Hi, Sammy's mom. I want to set a challenge because I know Wil Wheaton is very active on Twitter and social media, and he likes to interact with fans. I want to see. I'm going to give us 12 months intensive badgering, emailing, tweeting, like not just us. I want the Nerdy Up North crew, the Discord deviants, everyone to get involved. I want you to badger Wil Wheaton to try and get him on the Nerdy Up North podcast. Either we can get him on the Nerdy Up North podcast or we can get him on the Trekking podcasts. But that is the challenge. Do you accept my challenge now, nerds? As everyone just ignoring us now.
Yeah, pretty much. Joe said never.
How dare you?
Chris is just hey Joe. Answer the question. Wil Wheaton, what's your opinion on Lord of the Rings? Don't open with that one. Can we get Sammy one that says Sammy's mum's daughter? Oh, thanks. Yeah.
Yes. So that is...
I'll say challenge accepted for everyone. Michael, get to work.
Goodwill, we need you and your powers of persuasion.
You're our only hope.
They'll never come on with Star Wars references.
Oh no, we need. I don't know Trek ones. But it would be interesting because we do have a general, pop culture one and a Star Trek one. We could fit them into a bracket. It probably would be more Trek than it would be.
Oh, fuck it. I'd have them on just to talking about the Big Bang Theory for about half an hour, but that'll be fine.
So
Wil Wheaton.
Wil Wheaton.
Yes.
Do you like your name being pronounced Wil Wheaton?
But yes, Will, we're a fan. We love you, Wil Wheaton. But yes, that is the challenge. I was going to badger Kevin Smith, but after the restraining order and stuff, I'm not allowed to talk about. But I just think it'll be quite interesting to set a goal and to get everyone on board and everyone involved. If we don't do it, it's fair enough. I can accept that. Even if he wants us to pay a fee, I'll pay a small fee to have you come on the podcast.
That big,
just a small one.
Just that fun.
But yes, so Goodwill's getting in. So you want Wil Wheaton on the show? That'll be a tall order. I will text someone now. Great. See, that's all we needed.
Michael, just get to work. We know you. Do
your job, bitch. But yes, I love you, Goodwill. Yes.
Is there anything more on Stand By Me?
Yeah, there's so many highlights. I want to say, would you do a train dodge?
Yeah, but I don't quite understand what they're really doing. So I understand that the dodge in a train, but I feel like, what's stopping them from moving in the first place? I don't quite get the train dodge thing because I'm like, we'll just move.
It's just like chicken. That's the thing. It's like the last one to move wins. So,
right, okay, so he needs more people to do it because he tried to do it on his own.
But that's the thing, it's to prove that he's not chicken. It's like, if he can dodge the train like at the last second and say, okay, can you beat what, like, I lasted like this far, I got this close. Can you do it? Then it's like bragging rights. It's like when you're a kid, and this is going to sound really gross, but a lot of boys used to do this in the toilets, is to be how high you can piss on the toilet wall. So we used
Amazing.
So in the boys' toilets, it might be just in Roker school that I was in, we used to see who could piss the highest. Please, lads, tell us in the chat that that's not just me.
I am not disgusted by that. I think that's pretty cool because obviously I just pee down.
Yeah.
So like I don't have the ability to do that. So if I did, I feel like I would want to know as well.
But yes, but that's like the type of stuff you used to do as a kid. You used to always show that you've got more balls, or it used to be like I've got more, like I can jump off the highest thing. Like we used to jump off hay bales or jump off, like build a hay jumps. Like in Ryop, we used to steal hay from the farmers' fields, get a big ditch, fill it with hay, and see who can jump off the highest thing into the hay without breaking the legs or breaking the neck. I don't know how we're still fucking alive, to be honest, with some of the shit we used to do.
No, we used to have this is how this is where you know I live in Shiny. We used to have a massive inner tube from a tractor, and that was our bouncy castle.
Right.
Have you ever bounced off an inner tube of a tractor?
No.
You literally go. The minute you hit it, because it's so hard, you literally fly to the other side. So we used to have a massive, my friend who she's still my friend today, and her dad still lives on the same house she grew up in, the one with who got us into horror. It was her dad. You got this massive inner tube. So,
and I think that's what I love about this movie as well, because as soon as you watch it, even if you watched it like for the first time a month ago or a year ago, it takes you back to your childhood to think about what you were like as a kid and the stuff you used to do with your friends, and where like we used to get chased by the farmer in the fields, like he used to shoot at you with salt and pepper guns, not real guns, but used to, like, if you got hit, it used to do a small wound, and like salt and pepper used to get in and used to cause so much pain. But
we used to have titty guns, man.
No, that's what the farmer used to do to keep you off the land, because we used to cut through the farmer's field.
Well, as an adult, I can kind of understand why I'd fucking shoot you and all. But as a kid,
but we used to put all the hay bales together and play a Royal Rumble and see who was the last person to be on the hay bale used to win the Royal Rumble. So how the fuck we didn't kill each other?
God, me and my friends in the summer holidays, we would literally, I have such a memory of getting up, because my parents worked full time and I had to go to my aunties or my grandparents on a morning, and I would sit and watch California Dreams, Saved by the Bell.
What was it? California Dream? No, that's a different song. Sorry.
No, that is California Dream. This show, California Dreams, surf dudes with attitudes. Kinda groovy.
Kelly would have watched that. Kelly, if you're still watching, you would have watched that show.
It's on YouTube. It's amazing.
Oh.
But yeah, and I used to watch them, and then I would literally be on my bike from like 9 o'clock in the morning till God knows what time at night, and we would we dreamed of shit like this, like adventures like this. No, and I'm not saying we're looking for dead bodies or anything, but we dreamed up of today we're going to go and do something,
like go and build a swing in like say
go to the Gill, which is literally it's shit water basically, and just try and build a bridge across it.
Yes.
That's what, because I live right next to Northumbrian Water's tank, and the Gill runs right through it.
We used to, like, the pumping station with like the ponds and stuff. You used to go like looking for newts and shit like that. But yeah, it just.
If I was finding anything in that water, it was fucking toxic and it was fucking mutated.
But it does take you back to a more innocent time, and that's why I love this movie, because doesn't matter how old you are, it'll always take you back and remind you of being a kid, and like an easier time as well. Like you didn't have as many worries and stuff, and I'll always be thankful for this movie, for one of these movies, because like there's so many of its type, but this was up there because it didn't treat the audience as stupid. It didn't babyfy it or say this is kids gloves. It used adult tone, adult words, and again, that's probably just a lot down to like Stephen King and his writing as well, and that came through such well. There's other movies like does it well, but not as well. Like The Sandlot Kids is a great one about kids' summers and stuff like that. But yeah, this was one that I would always go back to.
I know it's not everyone's favorite movie, and it is very much of two parts, but Dreamcatcher captures the essence of that group of friends very, very well. Because again, he's so good at writing that friendship group.
Definitely.
And getting each character so right to where they all complement each other. But I love Dreamcatcher. I very much love Dreamcatcher.
Certainly. So anything else you want to add to Stand By Me there?
No, but if you haven't seen it, please to God go and watch it. It's on Netflix. You have no excuse. It is such a heartwarming, coming of age, amazing movie. Can't think of any other way to describe it.
It's got an amazing cast, amazing soundtrack, amazing story, and just I know it sounds really strange. It's told in a way that it's not overly long as well. I think it's only a short movie. It's not a long film.
Yeah, it's not the longest. Not the I when I was watching it the other day, I was like, Jesus Christ, I'm nearly at the end, and I feel like I've just started it. But that doesn't take away from anything. Like. You appreciate movies like this or for their length when you've sat and you watch the movies that we watch now. Because Indiana Jones nearly fucking killed me.
Bless you, it was a long one, that one. So yes, that was our little talk about an amazing movie that probably will make a lot of people feel good as well. So remember, guys, tomorrow is as usual is the Monsters Monday. I am the special guest on the podcast, so you know it's going to be interesting. And again, I'm well behaved. I don't take over the show. It is very much the Sam and Dan show. And it is as entertaining as fuck. And if you like facts, fuck me, do they have their facts tomorrow? So they've come out with some doozies.
Yes, we go into things that even shocked Paul, and I was so over the moon that I managed to, because normally Paul will go, if I say something, you go, yeah, I know that. He didn't on some of these ones, and I was like, fuck yes. So you will have to tune in to find out, because we love our factoids over at Monsters Up North.
Yes,
that's what we're all about.
And it's Pennywise the motherfucking clown, bitches. And
every time I mention monsters, I swing my chair around.
Yeah. Just shaking a pantsless bum around to the monsters there. Goodwill Captain Goodwill and Signs Off and a Synoid will be back on Friday. I believe they will be live this week. After the pre-recorded amazing episode that was Friday gone. That was such a fun episode. Then Sam is fucking off on celebrating 40th birthday.
21st birthday.
So remember, guys, you still got time to send her presents, send her, donations. She's got to pay for a lot of things, she's running out of pants, guys. She's not wearing pants.
So, I don't wear pants.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. But I won't be here next week. You will be in good hands, though. I have heard great things about next week's episode that I'm sad I'm going to miss.
Yeah, so next Sunday's episode is top 5 Disney characters.
I'm not quite sad I'm going to miss. I'm joking.
And one of the co-hosts for that episode is going to be the lovely Graham. So not just Goodwill is trying to manage and tolerate Graham. I've got to do that job as well. So that's going to be interesting. Then we've got a few extra things coming up, like I say, in the next few weeks, which is going to be quite entertaining and fun. But yes, keep pressing the subscribe button, keep sharing the information, keep telling everyone about the Nerdy Up North podcast, because it is the best podcast that they haven't heard yet. So that is the main thing. But
like, share, and subscribe.
But also as well, remember, we do have a Twitch as well. I'll call them the Twitch brothers instead of the Twit brothers. Jake and Goodwill will be doing the usual antics throughout the week. Also, as well, check out Jake's interview podcast he did last week.
Yes, it's so good.
Yes, it was quite informative where he had Slide and Sloop on, and what a lovely lady she was. But yes, he's reminded us as well, go on to Twitter, go on to Facebook to win the extra large. Everyone wants an extra large t-shirt.
It's warm. Yes. Extra large is a good thing. Keeps it all airy and floaty.
Yes, so make sure you win the t-shirt as well, and Goodwill will give you a sticker as well there. So he's a good lad like that. But yes,
he is. Remember all of our socials, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. What's the new one? Threads. My God, we are on all of the socials.
I'm a motherfucker threader, but I don't know what I'm doing. But yes.
Not a clue, but come and join us. Anywhere that you can find Nerd, anywhere you can type in Nerdy Up North into any platform, you will find us.
But yes, and also thank you for the wonderful chat tonight. Yous have been bonkers, yous have been crazy, but yous have always been entertaining.
My hat.
And also as well, I know yous probably don't get as much credit or notoriety. Please join the Discord. They are the friendliest bunch of twats you'll ever meet. Like I say, I got wrongs. I've just done an interview for a magazine that should be coming out soon. And I had to change it because I did put you down as the Discord creeps, but they thought that might come across wrong. So you are the Discord nerds, or the Fellowship of the Discord.
I love the Fellowship of the Discord. Our Discord is the most friendliest bunch of people you will ever meet. You really, if you are not a part of our Discord, please go and do it. It is simply just Nerdy Up North.
Yes. So yes. Anything else there, Sammy?
Go and check out Monsters on Monday. It's going to be fucking fantastic.
Yes, you can see where her true heart lies now. She's fallen in love, and she's. But yes,
I can share my love between the two, and I do.
And also as well, I know she's at London Comic Con this weekend, but please check out Bleeding Marvelous's website. The cool shit to buy on that website is amazing. It's not just the normal horror shit. It is very unusual and quite.
If you are looking, if you are looking for unique and special and different, Dan is your gal.
Yes, so check out Bleeding Marvelous's website and her Facebook page as well. But yes, I don't think I can plug any more. Yes,
I think we've exhausted ourselves.
And well done to Donna as well for selling out not just the VIP tickets, but the premiere tickets for SunnyCon next year. So well done, and whoever got the tickets, I hope you enjoy it, and hopefully please have us back. We won't injure anyone next year, I promise.
Please, we'll be on our best behaviour.
Yes.
We'll make sure Michael's good. We promise.
We'll make him. He's just part of the filming next year. That's fine. But yes. So same bat time, same bat channel.
Stay nerdy, everyone. Bye.
Bye.